Epilogue of the driver Takeshiba Troll's Rift. Hello and welcome. My name is Lynx, and let's finish this. And this is where I first remember being before being taken to the village, Yuji said as they stopped at the cliff. This must have been, Kazumi said, looking at the surroundings. It was quiet. Yes, caused by the earthquake, Yuichi replied. All these years, Kazumi said, almost as to herself. But instead of responding, Yuichi leaned to her and gave her a kiss. She held on to him and continued to kiss him for almost a minute. When their lips parted for a few moments, neither one of them knew where they were. It still felt like a miracle to them that they are together. And today, when Yuichi was showing her for the first time where he had stayed after the disaster that caused them to be ripped apart, they both felt their senses heightened as they were confronted with physical manifestations of their time of disconnectedness. But all of that was over now, and they knew only to hold and kiss each other to express their happiness about it. It felt like they have lost decades of time together, and there was no way to make up for it. So all they had left was to be together as much as possible. Now. It's almost 4 o'clock now, Yuji said, looking at the watch. How long did it take us? To get here, I think we set off at 10, so... He said, his voice indicating that he knew what was on her mind. Should we maybe... Azumi said. Try to look for a room around here. I was just going to say because we just can't spend Sunday here too, she said, smiling in agreement. Alright, but then let's drive. There's this small town in the hills. It's very nice. I can navigate you. Yuchi said, unable to resist, leaning towards Kazumi and giving her a kiss. And you really don't want to drive? Kazumi asked, as she occasionally did whenever they drove somewhere together. I feel like I've been driving for a whole lifetime, he said, watching Kazumi turn the car and get on the road that led them to this spot. She smiled and extended her hand, which he took and gently stroked without interfering in her shifting. She liked driving while having Yuichi in the passenger seat being able to talk to him. Yet I feel like I'm sort of incapable of driving as a passenger at this point. I feel like once... I mean, maybe it's not a feeling for everyone, but once I sat as the driver, I don't want to be on any other seat. If that makes sense. But tell me if you get tired or we can switch, he said, as if to remind her that he was nonetheless ready at any time. No, I've never felt bad since, so... Here. Right, yes? She said, and quickly asked to confirm the direction. Don't you have a GPS? Yes, and then just follow the main road for a while. All right. Kazumi smiled again, quickly looking at Yuichi, extending her hand one more time. And he almost wanted to ask her to stop just to be able to kiss her. And at that moment, Yuichi inadvertently looked at the empty back seat. 8 months ago. To go. 8 months to go. Oh! I know what she means, Kazumi said, realizing what he must be thinking. It was all they were thinking about now. And Kazumi, it still felt a little like a daydream to her. Because it all came true. All her hopes, all her deepest wishes, everything was real and happening to her now. And Yuichi, he was waking up every day still elated by the lightness of his freed soul and the ability to love her. The two of them may have forgotten the story of the princess and the boy, which Kazumi told Yuichi during that decisive day. The story that didn't have an end at that time. But if they ever think or remember that story, they will undoubtedly be certain of its conclusion now. An ending so happy it would exhaust one's imagination. The two of them feeling eternal bliss by each other's presence every day, loving each other and their children forever. Drive safely, Yuichi! and Kazumi. The driver Takeshiba. The end. That was interesting. I mean, to be quite fair, as I already mentioned in the past, in the beginning, I guess, uh, released by the dev whose games I've been playing for ages now. Basically, more or less from the very beginning of the channel, you could say. To be fair, I do need to go through like pages of devs I follow on itch and see if I missed somehow some of the releases or something like that. At the same time, I also need to clear out some games that I already have downloaded. And of course, I have to clear out like the Saudi Electronics launcher and UB Shite launcher, one game. And that way, I would be left with epically garbage launcher and GOG, which I don't know. I have a bad feeling about GOG. They try to play such a nice launcher and so on, but I have a feeling something will be not right. Something will turn out not right about them. I wish I was incorrect, but yeah. Anyway, the driver Takeshiba. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it. I'm glad it ended with the two main characters, getting that happy ending. That's for sure. That's nice. And again, I really like the original approach with using like car toys basically for the cars in here. And dude, I don't know, like some kind of carpets and so on, basically like I would say everyday sort of like towels and so on to create the backgrounds. That was kind of cool too. Yeah, I really like that approach. Like, dude, proving to us that you don't need to go uh, and search for some crazy budget or whatever. You can still create this stuff with, well, in this case, with everyday to use things. So 80 pre-projects delivered here pretty nicely. Pretty nicely. Oh yeah, the last game we played was Red Arrow, wasn't it? From you. Now that I think about it, I played so many games for my DP projects through years as well. Crazy. Well, what can I say? I only will hope that I'll be able to continue seeing more releases from you. From that group. That's right. Hopefully that is going to be continued. That's right. And no retirement allowed. Yeah, I guess the latest info about Pixel Fate retiring. That was sad. Well, hey, hopefully everything goes well for them as well, right? Anyway, that was Driver Takeshiba. I guess tomorrow I'll be sitting to record something I was already reminded that got released on Steam. If you know, you know. Anyway, hope you enjoyed, as always. And if you did, consider liking the video. If you're new around, consider subscribing to the channel. Super appreciated if you decided to stick around. There will be more games. And I wish you a fantastic day. Bye-bye.